Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to add JavaScript to your web page and what the document object model is. So the first thing you need to do, if you don't have Live Server installed, go to your extensions tab in VS Code and install that right away. The second thing is you need to create a folder in your computer in order to be able to use Live Server. Open your folder in VS Code, click File and Open Folder, and then inside of the Explorer here, you can click New File inside of your folder, and I'm going to name this dom.html. So this is going to be an HTML file. Now click exclamation point and enter, and this is going to give you this really nice autocomplete, but if it doesn't, you can just copy this to your code. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is right click on my window and open with Live Server. This is going to open here a browser where you can see in real time the changes you're making to your code. Now, if you don't know HTML, this would be a good time to either learn or refresh if you already know the basics. I am going to assume that you know most of what I'm talking about here. All right, so now let's actually start. I'm going to create here an h1 tag. I'm going to say hello. Then I'm going to give it an ID of heading like so. And I'm actually going to minimize this so that you can actually see. And now to add JavaScript to your page, I'm going to create here a script tag. And in here, you're going to put all of your JavaScript code. Now, the best practice is to do this at the bottom of the body tag, because if you do it in the head tag or at the top of the body tag, your browser is going to waste a lot of time parsing and executing JavaScript code instead of actually focusing on displaying the contents of the page. That's going to cause a bad user experience because then you're going to have to waste a lot of time refreshing and loading the page. So let's actually learn how to manipulate HTML inside of my JavaScript. Now, first of all, what is the DOM? So DOM stands for Document Object Model, and it is basically a built-in object in JavaScript that models the web page and that allows you to manipulate it. So I'm going to type document, and this is that object I was talking about, and this is actually linked to the web page. And so when you modify this document object, you're going to be modifying the web page as well. Now this is an object. This has a bunch of attributes and methods inside. The one I'm going to access is get. And as you can see, you have a bunch of options here. You have getElementById, by class name, by name, by tag name, all of those things. I'm going to select getElementById. Inside of parentheses and quotation marks, I'm going to put the ID of the element I want to access. So this is going to access this h1 tag that I have right here. So I'm actually going to create here, let h1 tag like that be equal to this. I'm going to create a variable. And then to actually manipulate the contents of this variable, I'm going to say h1 tag dot, and this is also an object. It also has its own properties, and I'm going to access the innerHTML property. This is the property that contains everything that is inside of the tags. So basically the text of my h1 tag in this case. And I'm going to set this equal to welcome, exclamation point, like so. And now when the page refreshes, as you can see, the text of my h1 tag is now welcome. So that is how you use getElementById. Now I'm actually going to show you another way. I'm going to type getElementsByTagName. And in here, inside of quotation marks, I'm going to put the tag name. Now, as you can see, this didn't do anything to my web page. Why? Well, that's because getElementsByTagName is not going to return to us a single element. It's actually going to return to us a list of all of the elements that have that tag, right? Because you can have multiple elements with the same tag. And to actually specify which one you want to access, you need to specify the index or the position of that element in the list. Now, in this case, I want to access the first tag in my HTML. So I'm going to put square brackets and I'm going to put a 0. So this will access the first element. And as you can see, now my web page has changed. You will understand this better when you learn arrays, but basically 0 accesses the first element, 1 accesses the second. For example, if I put a 5 in here, this is going to access the 6th element. All right, so that is how you do this. Now, there is another way to access HTML tags here, and that is another method of the object document, which is the querySelector. And querySelector actually lets you decide which element you want to access by multiple different identifiers. So you can use tag name, you can use class, you can use ID, basically anything you want. So I'm going to use tag name first. And as you can see, when I do this, it's going to automatically change here the page. Well, that's because unlike getElementsByTagName, querySelector is going to select only the first element with that tag. So if I had a second h1 tag here, this would still access this one, right? Because it is the first. So that is how you access tags with querySelector. Now you can also access IDs with the hashtag. So hashtag is going to signify that this is an ID and not a tag. I'm going to say heading, and as you can see, my page has changed. Now you can also do this by class. So I'm going to type class, I'm going to give it a class of heading, and instead of a hashtag, I'm going to put here a point to signify that I want to access this by class. And as you can see, my page has changed again. So that is how you select HTML tags and how you change them from your JavaScript. So the next thing I want to show you is the console object in your web page. So right click on your web page, scroll down and click inspect. This is going to open this tab for you that contains all of your code. And there's somewhere over here that says console. You can click on it and this is going to open the console here in your browser. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say console.log. Reminder that console is also a built-in JavaScript object. It has this log method that allows you to log things onto it. And I'm going to select here the h1 tag dot innerHTML like so. Now, as you can see, welcome is here in my console. Now, what if I add a bunch of spaces in here? Well, that's going to log the message, but with a bunch of annoying spaces here that I don't want. So instead of accessing innerHTML, I'm going to access here innerText like so. And now, as you can see, this is going to log only the text inside here of my tag without these annoying spaces that I don't want. So that is the innerText property, and that is how you access the console. Now, as you can probably agree with me, logging things onto the console is pretty lame. And there's actually a function in JavaScript that allows you to create pop-ups in your page. So instead of console.log, I'm going to say alert. And as you can see, this is going to create a really cool pop-up here that says welcome, and click OK to dismiss that alert. So that is the alert function. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the window object. So everything inside of your browser is actually wrapped inside of a window object, of a greater object that basically contains everything. So what is inside your browser? Well, your document is inside of your browser. So instead of just document here, I could have said window.document. And let me actually delete this annoying alert now because it's kind of annoying me now. Okay, let me dismiss it. Okay, and this is actually the same thing as just saying document, right? Because document is actually inside of your window object, right? And what else is in your browser? Well, your console is in your browser. So I'm actually going to delete all of this. And I'm going to say here window.console, like so, .log, hello, like that. And as you can see, this is going to log hello onto here. So your console is also inside of your window object. Now the alert function is also inside of your window object. So everything that's inside of your browser is going to be inside of this really big object that's going to basically contain everything. Now, JavaScript is intelligent to know that all of these objects, console, alert, document, all of those things are inside of the window object. So you can actually omit that part. And you're not going to use the window object basically ever. So this serves more as a curiosity. All right. And I think that is all I wanted to show you today. That is how you access and alter and manipulate HTML tags inside of JavaScript. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful and valuable to you, please like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.